Back on Trojans Live, Jordan Moore and John Jackson. Now during the BMW Mission to Drive, lease a 2015 BMW 320i sedan for as low as $369 a month with zero due at signing. Just sign and drive. Details at SoCalBMW.com. We welcome on the phone now the USC Athletic Director, Pat Haden. Pat, you there?
I am here. Hey, Jordan, JJ, how you guys doing?
Good, Pat.
Thank you for joining us. Obviously, we'll get to the sort of hot-button topic right away. You've had a week to look back at it now, Pat. How do you reflect on the Steve Sarkisian incident at Salute to Troy and the week that's been?
Well, Jordan, I got to say, these kinds of decisions, and particularly this one, was given a lot of thought, a lot of careful thought before the decision was made. I had thoughtful conversations with medical professionals, trusted members of my staff, people I've known a long time. We developed a confidential plan going forward. I've said that already, and it is confidential. But Steve has discussed the counseling part of it, which he started, and I think it's started off well, at least what he's told me. And importantly, he's approached it with an open mind. Now, Jordan, you and I understand that a lot of people are going to disagree with my decision. It happens all the time. But I believe the course of action we chose really is in the best interest of USC and Steve Sarkisian, and maybe just as importantly or more importantly, our players in their best interest. And they have really rallied around Coach. So that is kind of how we ended up where we are.
And Pat, we've heard all the explanations and we've sort of beat this into the ground. But, for me, I know you and Sark have a great relationship, and I also know that you carry the weight of the athletic department on your shoulders, often probably too much of the weight. But
I'm now 5'1".
Exactly. But with that, just for you personally, how difficult has this situation been for you, personally, from your own personal standpoint?
Well, I always have USC's best interest in heart. I've been a USC Trojan my entire life since I was about 10 years old when I went to my first game. So, it's a great university before I got here. It's going to be a great university after I got here. I'm just a little part of this program. So I'm always, want to represent the university the best way I can and not embarrass it. We've had some glitches, myself included, and so I'm just, thankful of the place that I went to school where I met my wife. It means so much to me, and every decision I made, like I said, even though a lot of people disagree with them, I do try to give it a great deal of thought of what's in the interest of USC.
And we talked to Sark, and he's excited and ready to get back to football. I'm sure you're in that category as well. Finally have a game this weekend. Well, what are your impressions? We've seen you out on the practice field. And what do you see from the 2015 Trojans?
Well, Jordan, the nice thing is I see more players. I remember going to a drill. This is, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, literally, and there was a linebacker coaching individual drills, and I think there were 2 or 3 scholarship linebackers there. So just seeing some more guys, talented guys there, that was the first thing that caught my eye. And you always start with an experienced quarterback, and we've got a wonderful kid, Cody Kessler, and who happens to be a pretty good quarterback as well. So that's a great place to start. If I had to point out one thing in the youth, Jordan and JJ, that's kind of rung out to me, or kind of sprung out to me, is these 4 young freshman linebackers. That's redundant. 4 freshman linebackers who I think are going to play a lot and play well for us.
Pat, we talked to Sark about him relinquishing the play calling. I'd be interested to get your take on what you think about that decision, and were you involved with it at all?
No. This is those aren't my kind of decisions to be made. I think they've been talking about it for a while. I know, and Clay has been intimately involved in play calling. Really, a lot of times in his career, he was offensive coordinator. I think it was in Memphis before he came to USC. When Coach O was our coach for a while, he called all the plays there then, and did pretty well offensively there. He's a very innovative coach, and I think it will be balanced, which I like. And so I think, it gives Steve a chance to do a lot more. Remember, you got the whole defensive thing and special teams thing, And I think it's great for Clay, and I really think it's good for Steve too.
One of the things fans always want to know are any updates on what's going on with the Coliseum renovation project, and what do you know about any NFL teams maybe coming to Los Angeles and playing in the Coliseum?
Well, the renovation project is just that. It has not been approved by our board of trustees yet, and so until that happens, it's not a project. Although we've spent, and I've talked about it a lot, as you know, Jordan, spent a lot of time on it over the last 2.5 years. But I think we'll get there and hopefully have something announced in the not too distant future. As far as the NFL goes, we answered an RFP to the NFL that they put out about teams hosting an NFL team on a temporary period of time. And I really believe that there is at least one team, maybe two, coming in 2016. And, we'd like to host them for that couple of years it takes for them to build a stadium, and they would be a tenant. We'd use some of those tenant dollars, if you will, to help us renovate the Coliseum.
Pat, you're in a unique situation where you're athletic director and also being on the college football playoff committee a year ago. My question is about scheduling, because I know that, there's every year the goal is the same, to win a national championship, and how you schedule teams sort of, fits into that. Talk about the strategy scheduling wise, because I know that, there's some really tough teams coming down the pipe in the future, and then there's also some teams that might not be as strong. I was just wondering, what strategy do you take to try to put USC in the best position to win a national championship?
Well, I think our schedule is hard enough year in, year out, with 9 conference games and Notre Dame. So you only have 2 games really to schedule there, right? So right. You have 9 conference games, a conference championship game now, and Notre Dame. I believe the last time we won a national championship, I think we only had 8 conference games and no conference championship game, and so just got voted into the BCS championship game. Now you have to win, presumably win your 9th conference game. You have to win the conference championship game, and then you have to win a semifinal. So it's kind of 3 games more difficult, I'd say, to kind of get where you were in the old BCS era, at least in our conference. And so the other 2 games, this year, quite honestly, we weren't sure where we were going to be numbers-wise, scholarship-wise. We weren't entirely sure, but as you can see, next year we play Alabama. Now, you can argue whether that's a good thing. It's great. It's a great matchup. We love the matchup, but is it the right thing to do to get to the Final Four? You could argue either one that. And then the next 2 years we play a home-and-home series with Texas. And so you add that on to your regular 9 conference games in Notre Dame. It's a pretty formidable challenges we have upcoming.
Well, it's all going to start this Saturday with Arkansas State, 8 p.m. at the Coliseum. JJ and I will go on air at 6 o'clock for the pregame show. Pat, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we will be right back on Trojans Live.